I'm Scott, and this is Phil. We are in North Bend, Washington. Behind us is a Stewart Stevenson M1078 expedition truck that Phil and I designed and built. He has 25 years-ish of construction experience, and I come from the heavy equipment trucking industry, and we kind of put our skills together, and this is what we came up with, and hope you enjoy. This is the second truck I built. The first one I built was a 6x6 with a 19-foot box that my wife and I and 3 dogs lived in for 6 years, traveling around all over US and Baja. We took that experience over 40,000 miles, I think, figured out what we liked and what we didn't like, and we just kind of took those ideas and put it into this truck, and it's better built than the first one. Version 2.0.
It's well insulated.
Very well insulated. The floor and ceiling are 3 1/8 inches thick, and the walls are 2 1/4. And when the box is down, you get double thickness on the wall because it has to overlap to raise. It is a 1998. It has a Cat 6.6 liter 3116. It's a mechanical diesel mated to a Allison transmission. It's basically a school bus setup, so parts for it are simple to find. It sits on Goodyear. These are 46-inch tires. They're 395 85/20s. It has central tire inflation system, which airs up, airs down all the tires by the push of a button in the cab. There's 5 settings: highway, cross country, sand, emergency, and run flat. Which run flat will push all the air that the truck makes to that individual tire automatically. So a couple things that I changed on this one from mine was this one has high-speed gears, which gives you a top speed of 74. But more common than that, it gives you a much lower RPM at highway speed. So 60 is very comfortable in the truck. This is the cab air ride suspension. This is a very much of an upgrade. Mine does not have this, and I wish it did. It makes the truck ride beautifully on and off road. That was a big upgrade. The sound ending was huge, and the high-speed gears make it a lot more comfortable to ride.
Then he added obviously the brush guards and some storage up top. We'll get to the cab later.
This is how you raise and lower the cab. It's a air over hydraulic system. When the cab has air, you just push the button, the cab goes up. If you don't have air for any reason, you can lift it manually.
Definitely use the air.
Definitely use the air. Yep, it's a lot more enjoyable. Fuel is 56 gallons. The truck gets about 8-9 miles per gallon, which gives you a range of about 450 miles. I put an auxiliary tank on mine. I originally had a diesel stove, and that was my kind of get out of jail free card. You can install one on here in between the frame and the subframe. The subframe or the box sits on the truck on a anti-torsion system. Basically, it relieves the stress of the flexing of the truck from the box.
So it's mounted in 4 different points rather than being solidly mounted.
It allows the truck to twist underneath the box without stressing the box. It's bolted from the subframe to here. We had plates inserted in the cabin itself. It's bolted to that, and then it's a 4-point system.
In the panel, the floor system of that when we ordered it. Yeah, so that was all determined. You'd had it in the plans to have some steel there to attach everything to. So that's solid.
If you ever want to lift it from a helicopter, you can slide this out, and you have an attachment point just to any future.
Yeah, if you ever have the desire.
Sturdy boxes. It still gives you good ground clearance and your departure angle on the back. The clearance is 22-inch ground clearance.
Yeah, more storage there. We'll get to the garage. 3,000 watt 24 volt inverter. We've got 2 300 amp hour 12 volt batteries wired together, so it's a 24 volt system. We do have a step down to 12 volt. It's hidden around the corner here, so any of the standard 12 volt stuff will run off that. We've got multiple outlets inside, I think both USB and the cigarette lighter style. Yeah, there's plenty of outlets inside. And there's plenty of space, so what we didn't want to do is cover up the entire garage with battery. So above in the seats of the dinette, there's plenty of space if somebody wanted to use that. Or, of course, you could throw plenty more lithium back here and get plenty of amp hours out of it.
It's plenty enough to run everything. One thing this was designed for was that the batteries will be able to run the AC and heater. The choice for the mini split was that it pulls under 5 amps to run full hot or full AC.
Low usage on the mini split. You have that on yours.
I do.
That was the initial you put that on right away, so
Yeah.
it's been bouncing around in
Yeah.
the desert for.
I have tested that. Yep, it works.
And then Scotty come up with the this system, pretty simple. That's big for a lot of your stuff. You want to keep it simple if you're out in the
Simple. I think that is the whole tone of the truck. It's simple to operate. I personally don't like a bunch of high-tech electronics. Are great when they work, but if you're out in the remote areas where these trucks are built to go, I want to be able to fix it with a relative mechanical ability and pretty simple tools. It has plenty of the luxuries, but it also is kept very simple.
So these actually fold up nicely, but simple enough. We just use a socket to push down on the jacks, and then it all collapses up to his spare tire lift, which is again just I think, what is that, a 12 volt?
Yeah, it's 12 volt winch.
Yeah.
It's hooked to Dyneema rope, which is, they use it for sailboat rigging. It's stronger than steel, and it won't rot and it won't rust.
It's not just hanging there, but he's got some safety pins and stuff in there too. But yeah, this works very well. So we had, once we get it lifted up, you could imagine, any kind of wind and stuff. So then he went to work on this, and it stabilizes it. It doesn't move around any more than any other RV.
Oh, for sure.
If you've been in one, they move a little bit, but this stops 99% of that. So.
Right. On steep inclines, it's a bit like a mountain goat. It will go straight up, but you're not going to win any races. It'll go wherever you point it, that's for sure.
Got some lighting in here too, I guess. But lots of space. There's more than enough room for skis. I think we're probably like the longest thing you'd put in there. Maybe
you can put mountain bikes and stuff in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Or put a rack on the back too.
Yeah, so on his, and all that stuff can be added later, but he's got this one directly mounted to the subframe. I think you did the same with yours.
I mounted it to the truck
Yours
frame.
is a little bit heavier because he's got a couple dirt bikes and an inflatable and all kinds of stuff on there, and it's way big. The lift, you can go quite bigger on the lift, but yeah, then he tied that into the frame a little bit. But this one's more than solid for the tire itself. So.
For sure.
Outdoor unit for the mini split system, really quiet, runs super quiet.
Very quiet.
You have no idea unless you walk by it that it's actually running.
Yeah.
Can't hear it inside.
Here's a better look at the mounting system. This is the two side pins. If you wanted to remove the box or the subframe, it's pretty simple. You can remove those two, and you can remove a pin in the front and the back and hoist it off. Here's your battery bank. There's 4 AGM batteries. Air tanks for the front, middle, and rear. You have your gray tank. It's a 42-gallon air intake. Built this. This used to have a ginormous air intake that took a lot of space up, and we went this route just to keep the box a little bit closer to the cab and keep you could increase the size of the box that way.
That's right. You had because the spare tire usually goes on the other side.
Yeah. We took that out.
And that's a
huge
24 inches.
You have to be back here.
Yeah.
Coolant expansion tank. This is your oil fill, transmission dipstick. It's kind of tough to see, but it had we got rid of the factory air dryer and put it in the aftermarket one. Much more efficient and much quieter. Overland vehicle systems boxes on top. They're 169 quarts each. They're good size, very sturdy and waterproof. Sits on the rack. There's plenty more space to put other things up there if you'd like. If you want to get rid of the boxes, I've seen people put rooftop tents up there for kids.
Oh.
It's a great little high spot for that. Inside, pretty simple. We ran through all the panels and gauges and swapped the seats out, put in AC system.
We didn't go too wild and crazy because, again, they come with, I think it's 3 seats, right?
There's 3 seats, yeah.
And depending on who's going to be riding, you can, man, if we had a decision, we could have really gone wild on the center console.
For sure.
You can play with that. And then you could put all kinds of whatever storage behind the seats if you don't have more than 2 people. You had dogs.
It changes,
so you had it straight.
If it was 4 seats, I would have taken the seats out. We just basically had 4-inch foam throughout, and the dogs were able to sit in there.
Yep.
So if you had kids, if it was 2 people, if it's a solo person, it just changes so much that we just left it open to change.
You put a backup camera up there.
Backup camera runs all the time, not only when you put it in reverse, so it's nice to just kind of keep an eye behind you. Stereo system, it's got the switches for the off-road lights up front.
That's right.
Those are 30-inch lights. They work really well. Change the factory lights out for LEDs. Those are a big improvement.
Light bars are ridiculously bright. You're not gonna see it now, but
No, no, they are
they're bright.
They're pretty bright. They work well. Once while the box is down, so you can get an idea of what the space feels like. For reference, Phil and I are about 6 foot.
I'm a little bit bigger, taller.
As you can see in the stairs going in, you got a spot for either little cubbies or put your shoes or...
We could have made that easier to build, but he wanted the shoe storage.
Yeah, it was too much. I mean, you have to build in storage everywhere you can,
Yeah,
right?
right, we did. Okay. So this was the big thing that Scotty, in their travels, they have, their setup is the bed lifts to the roof. Below that is their dinette and couch. So if one of the two sleep in, the other has nowhere to sit. So he said he's had to sit on the toilet more than a couple times with his laptop in his lap. So he said this was a huge deal to be able to have a dinette if the other person's sleeping when the roof is raised. So yeah, this raises and lowers by remote. We'll show a video of that later, maybe. But again, if you have a short stopover at night, you don't have, all you gotta do is drop this down. We've got extra mattresses, or extra, cushions to be able to fully fill this up. So all your panels, electric, so DC, AC, the inverter panel is there. Just above that is the thermostat for the heat pump. And that's all pretty simple to fire up. Lots of storage underneath both of these. I don't think anything's under there. Maybe the cushions are under there, but so that would be the question if somebody wanted to add more battery, you could put it there. These stairs, there's a step here and a step. You'll find storage everywhere. There's a step, we turn that into storage as well.
That cover lifts up, that step top lifts off.
This lifts off. You got the same windows.
Yes.
You've been
Love them.
Love them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're dual pane acrylic. They have a bug screen, and then you can drop it down, and it's also a blackout. But one thing that's very nice with these is they have a reflective back, so if it's super sunny out and you can drop those out, you can maintain the temp in here really well. Really well. We have had ours in 120 degrees, and we've kept the inside just around like 70. Yeah.
All the cabinets got locking hardware on them. I think is pretty standard on an overland vehicle,
Yep.
but necessary it seems.
For sure.
This one we actually built in the refrigerator and freezer, so it all matches up with everything else.
It's a DC.
DC volted, yep. A little bit not full size, but certainly not tiny either. Induction cooktop. I believe,
2-burner.
Yep, 2-burner. I think that was a 110. That wasn't 240. So
Yeah.
this is your heating and cooling, and then the intake is back there. We got 2 water tanks on it. We stored those down low to keep the weight down as low as possible.
Down and centered.
Yep. So I think each one of those are 70 gallons. So we've got one on each side. There's one behind here as well. So you got 140 gallons of fresh water. Everything just kind of started from the ground up and tied together. So the walls are tied together with the system that goes across that supports the bed. I don't even know how much glue. We use so much adhesive on this.
It's stout.
Yep,
Put it that way.
It's very strong. I was surprised once I got up there. The thing doesn't move a bit. So.
No. Very unlike the RVs. A lot of travel trailers and stuff are pretty...
You can see it flex when you're moving around. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then back here, your kitchen sink and all that jazz.
It's almost residential size, but it's pretty big. Oversized, for sure.
Simple rocker switch for the lights. There's separate lights back there over the dinette. And then once we raise up the roof, you can see actually just above that dinette, there's also some in the top facing upward. So it's kind of nice to illuminate, and then the upstairs will have lights as well. So in the bathroom, a real good size shower.
Is a requirement.
Yeah. Overhead sprays, got a body spray back there, and then all the stuff will shoot at you from the front. And then this was a nice change, just a rolling shower curtain. So spaces everything. Retracts nicely, a little sink with lots of storage underneath. And then we did get a 110 volt Yep, on the side there. So hair dryers and that kind of stuff hanging over here. Composting toilet, I'll let Scotty speak to that because he's lived with it for a long time and says he would never go anywhere else with it.
Would not. No, I would, as soon as it was kind of a question to go with a composting toilet. And once we did, I wouldn't go back to a black tank or a cassette toilet ever. It's so easy, so simple. There's no macerators, there's no plumbing, there's no black tank that you got to figure out.
It's got a really low voltage fan that just constantly runs to keep any kind of smell out. But without getting into the nitty gritty, but you and your wife live in it for
6 years.
How long do you go between changing out the?
We went like 2 weeks.
2 weeks on solids, and then there's a simple. There's two different compartments. One of them you just dump out for the liquid, and then the solids you said 2 weeks.
Yeah,
blew my mind.
Liquid was obviously way more frequent than that, but
yeah,
it's a lot easier to get rid of as well.
Yep. Simple locking. We created this so it couldn't move during transit. You wouldn't have to lock it each time, but there is just a very simple little lift lever, and then that's your closed door. Close
your door, and then you basically have a whole bathroom, shower, toilet, and sink all in one space.
Now lift the box up. The question was asked how long it takes. We kind of guesstimated, but we'll run a little timer real quick while we do it. So we'll start at 0, hit start, and remote control obviously is what actuates it. And then the 4 screw jacks on the corners. I don't know if you can still hear me, but I've run inside. That little noise you were hearing was just our gaskets. So once you get it jacked up, there's obviously a little bit of space in between, and on that space we just put a couple of gaskets to make sure the wind and sand and stuff doesn't come finding its way in there. I don't know if we've noticed a difference in time. It's been up and down 100 times, but I'm sure, if the batteries are full, sun's bright, that kind of stuff would probably make a difference, whether or not it's plugged in. But all in all, we're looking at minute 15 currently, so don't have to wait too long. We have had it up in some windy conditions, and again, my stabilizers make the biggest difference in the world, so clearly once you get it up top, you get to see the windows. And that's it. Minute 33. So not too bad. Coming down, if it's minute 33 going up, I'd imagine coming down's got to be a minute or so. It's clearly going to go faster. So we got the roof raised up. It's up here, quick access. There's a little light switch here for additional lighting. We've got AC and DC power outlets. Both sides have a, it's about 12 inches, and I would say, we went the depth of the mattress, so I think it's like 8 inches interior, maybe 10 inches exterior. But 3 different storage options or storage spaces on each side. And then lots of space at the end of the bed. Extra storage, certainly when you drop this down, you got to pull your pillows and stuff, and there's more than enough room there, so. Yeah, there's other options that you could do, but it's got USB-C and USB for DC, and then they have 110 outlets for both sides. So that's about it up here. What was the towing capacity on this one?
This one is just over 10,000 pounds.
Okay. And do you remember how they're pretty heavy duty if you got those military trailers, but how much were they weight-wise?
The trailer?
Yeah.
My trailer was 7,000 pounds empty.
7. So either way, you probably want to come up with maybe a different type of trailer if you wanted to haul something.
Yeah,
but,
you could slim it down for sure.
Duty.
Mileage is 5,500. Service on the engine, we did oil change, the valve train's been adjusted, radiator was redone, the drive lines were all either replaced or balanced when we did the high-speed gears. All the fuel lines have been replaced, all the belts have been replaced.
Water heater also runs off the coolant,
system.
so anytime you stop after driving, you'll have time to take a hot shower.
Yeah, you'll have hot water, and vice versa. You can start your hot water heater and it will preheat the engine. A big thing if you travel a lot is setup time. If you're going to set up and tear down every day, if you pull into a spot after driving all day, off-road or on, it doesn't matter. You want the setup time to be as quick and easy as possible. Minute 33. If you need the jacks, you can put them down. It takes like 2 minutes, if that. And then you're good. The box is lifted up by 4 12-volt linear actuators, which when they run up, they're locked in any position. There's no locks that holds it up. If you had a height restriction for any reason under a tree or whatever, you could run it halfway up and it doesn't change anything. Compact, actually. Having this much space when you're stopped, but still being compact when you're driving. They are big trucks compared to others. There are others that are much bigger. But if you're used to driving anything like a big truck, you can drive it, you can park it into a grocery store parking spot. Mine fits in 2 of them. This would probably fit in 2 of them as well.
Yeah, it was a little interesting for me. I was kind of hesitant. I grew up on a dairy farm. I'm used to big vehicles, but I was like, you can go out and test it out. But this one, it drives very well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's comfortable. The steering, everything. Don't be it looks intimidating, but
it does.
Don't be intimidated because it does. It turns well. It's pretty easy to drive actually.
You can contact me, Scott Devler, 206-618-8577. expeditionvehicle@gmail is the email. There's a link on Expedition Meister with all the photos and just a
breakdown
of all the information that we ran through.
I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thanks for watching.